A mother's ordinary routine of picking up her 10-month-old son, Blake, from daycare turned into a nightmare when she heard him scream in pain. Trusting daycare providers to care for their children is a difficult decision for many parents. Unfortunately, Ellie Nilsson's trust was shattered when she heard her son's screams upon arriving at the daycare in November 2021. Ellie's heart raced as she heard the caregiver on the phone explain that Blake had accidentally spilled hot water on himself while playing. Despite the daycare staff's assurances that it wasn't an emergency and that Blake was fine, Ellie's world was turned upside down when she assessed the situation herself. She arrived and heard terrifying screams coming from her son. It was then that she realized that there was bleach in the water that Blake had spilled on himself, and the situation was dire. Ellie scooped Blake up without hesitation and rushed him to the hospital with her partner, Daryl Nilsson. The little one passed out in the car due to the immense pain, and Ellie and Daryl were in shock and disbelief. The traumatized couple couldn't believe that the daycare didn't call for an ambulance. Blake suffered second-degree burns and spent time in the hospital. Despite the trauma that he experienced, he was a resilient little boy who continued to fight and recover. His parents were determined to help him recover mentally and physically, as his physical scars would likely be permanent. Ellie and Daryl wondered why a bucket of boiling bleach was left near their child. They believed it was a preventable incident that caused harm to an innocent child. However, the silver lining in this situation was that Blake's case was brought to public attention. The investigation into the nursery's actions and the recommendations made by Care Inspectorate will help improve safety measures in daycares and prevent similar incidents from happening again. The staff was instructed to immediately contact emergency services in the future, who could provide the right advice while awaiting an ambulance, which would minimize the pain and discomfort the child may experience. Ellie Nilsson's worst nightmare became a reality when she picked up her 10-month-old son, Blake, from daycare in November 2021. What should have been a routine pickup turned into a harrowing experience when Ellie heard the heart-wrenching screams of her son in agony. As she got closer to the childcare facility, she realized that it was Blake who was crying out in pain. The caregiver informed Ellie that Blake had accidentally spilled hot water on himself while playing, but she had no idea how serious the situation was until she saw her baby boy. Blake had second-degree burns on his chest and arms from the bleach-infused water, and the trauma of the incident left emotional scars that were still visible months later. Blake's parents were devastated and angry that the daycare had not called for an ambulance when their son was in dire need of medical attention. They questioned why a bucket of boiling bleach was left within reach of children and felt that the incident was preventable. The online community also expressed outrage and frustration, calling for stricter regulations on daycare centers and holding them accountable for any harm to children. The incident served as a reminder that accidents can happen anywhere, but proper safety measures and accountability can prevent harm to children. Despite the trauma that Blake experienced, his family was awarded a 5-figure payout for the damages, and his parents were determined to help him recover physically and mentally. Blake's story brought attention to the importance of safety measures in daycare centers and highlighted the need for accountability when harm occurs. Ellie expressed disappointment in the nursery's reaction to the incident, stating that they downplayed their failings even when presented with photographic evidence of her burned and blistered infant. Although Blake has responded well to medical treatment, his recovery is incomplete, and he still displays signs of emotional trauma, particularly around water. The incident has been thoroughly investigated, and the recommendations made by Care Inspectorate will help improve safety measures in daycares and prevent similar incidents from happening again. As for Blake's parents, they will continue to fight for justice for their son and ensure that proper safety measures are put in place to prevent harm to other innocent children.